Hi there folks, my name's NovaWing24 and welcome to another little review. So this time we're having a look at the fairly recent release from MilViz Simulations. So we're going to be looking at their fabulous Tomb, or their F-4E Phantom 2. So, we're here today in Lockheed Martin's Prepared 3D, version 2.5 point something or other, whatever the iteration is at the moment. And this is currently available for, not only is it available for P3D, but it's also available for FSX and FSX Steam Edition as well. But, I always love taking out my P3D for a spin, and I've just got it up to date and working again, so yeah, I thought I'd take a chance and actually go to a good old display and show off as well. On a side note though, I have tested it in FSX Steam Edition, and there is no problems with Steam Edition. It runs beautifully well in that as well. Alright, now before we get going on our usual thing that we do, so we go do the look around, desert the outside before we have a look in the office and go for a test flight. I do want to say thank you very much to the wonderful guys over at FlightSimStore.com who've been very gracious enough to provide the review copy of this fabulous add-on for my reviewing pleasure and for everybody to have a look at. So yes, thank you very much to those guys as well for that. Alrighty, so we'll get started here. So as you can see, we've got this beautiful Phantom here. Now look, the Phantom, it holds a bit of a special place for me. There's two aircraft I've always loved, the F-4 Phantom and the F-14 Tomcat. They're probably my two favourite American aircraft. And it's just something about how big, brutal, ugly, and yet amazing that it is that I've always loved about the Phantom. It possibly also influenced by the fact that one of my earliest aviation memories was actually seeing going to the RAAF Museum at Point Cook in Victoria in Australia, and actually getting to sit inside the cockpit of one that's kept on display there. So yeah, always had a special place in my heart, this one. So yeah, it's great to be able to get my hands on and jump behind the virtual controls of one. So yes. Alright, so as you can see here, look, we've got some amazing external textures here, like amazing detail here. It comes with a selection of liveries as well. They offer a whole heap of free additional liveries as well as a paint kit as well. So this is actually one of the additional liveries that's available free from MilViz's website. This is one from the famed Linebacker 2 campaign during the Vietnam War. So as you can see, it is just amazing, well rounded, and it really covers across like the whole, like, you know, it's dirty, it's grimy, it's used, but it looks so amazing. Like, you know, just something as simple as, you know, like the way the silver is done here near the tail, the way the dirt is actually enabled on it, like that is just absolutely incredible. It just looks amazing. And it's just got like the nice features as well, like, you know, we've got the all the ground stuff, all the RBF tags and stuff like that, which is one of the options we'll see in just a moment. It's just an incredible amount of detail has gone into it and looks absolutely amazing. So as I was saying before, this is the F-4E Phantom. So the guys at MilViz have brought that. Now some of the color schemes in it do cover off some other variants, but it is all the flight model and the internals are all designed around the F-4E. So you do get the US Navy's F-4S and F-4J external models in there. The F-4F for the Germans is also modelled externally, but again, as I said, all the internal modelling is all based on the F-4E Phantom. So no carrier operations at this time. Alright, so now we can look at this. Now we're probably going to get our wings folded down before we start anything else today. There they go. Look, it just the detail is just pretty damn amazing. It really is. It just looks good. It just really looks good. It really does. All right, okay. Now, so we're gonna jump over here for a second. All right, now let's just jump inside. So we've got this beautiful cockpit here. So we'll go for a quick look around the office as we do. And then I'll show you some of the cool sort of little functionalities of it. So yeah, the cockpit's been really beautifully, faithfully modelled, and again captures that the high definition textures that they've used are absolutely incredible. Like, and it really captures that. You know, this aircraft was around for so long and so heavily used and loved by its crews. despite its its idiosyncrasies and stuff like that, that it really did, it really does, you get that feeling of, yeah, this is a loved and a used aircraft. It really is, and you just get that feeling that, what, this is a place where business happens, kind of thing. A lot of aeronautical business does take place here. Pretty much all the switches, dials, knobs, and gauges, everything work to their functions as well. The manual is actually more in line with the actual operations guide. You actually get your actual air ops manuals from that as well. Not only is the front cockpit beautifully modeled as well, the rear cockpit is also done in incredible detail as well, complete with the full flight control setup from the back seat as well. So, which is interesting enough, was a unique thing for the USAF, the US Air Force ones, not the of the F4, not the US Navy ones. The US Navy ones didn't have the full flight controls featured in the rear cockpit, whereas all the US Air Force ones did retain the full ability to fly the aircraft from the rear seat throughout their entire service life. So, interesting little side note here. So yes, so all modelled off USAF F-4Es, and yeah, it's just, really, really cool, really awesome, really awesome. Okay. Let's get back here. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get underway for a start. Now, you get quite a few historically accurate different ways of starting it. I'm going to show you one of the four main methods of getting this aircraft started. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up the loadout manager. So this is pretty much the only shift pop-up that you get. So this covers you off for things like, what you can see and stuff like that. So let us just quickly, I'm going to jump to an external view while we see some of this, so you can see all the stuff that sort of gets added on as we go. Alright, so first things first, we're going to put our pilots in. There we are, we're all there, and we're going to close, we're going to get rid of the all the red stuff. All the remove before flight things are going to be away. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to close down our canopies. There we go, canopies down, ladders tucked away. Alright, now we've got our everything set. Alright. Now we're going to get our ground power unit there. There we go. So it's fully modelled as well. Now it does influence what happens inside the aircraft as well. Now, as well as the ground power unit, this, as you can probably also tell, this is also where you change the payload. Now the payload does influence the way the flight model works. Now we're just going to carry a basic payload today. We're going to, you get a full choice of range. You get all sorts of pretty much everything that the aircraft was capable of carrying. But we're just going to carry a fairly basic range today. We're going to go with some external fuel tanks. Oh, no, that's a Sparrow. That's okay. We're going to carry the wing tanks there. You can see them go straight onto the aircraft there. Now, speaking of Sparrows, we are going to put a couple of those on board. And we'll grab one of the ECM pods and pop that up the front there. There it is, all displayed very nicely. That's it. It's all in real time. It does appear, and you do actually get the whole. It actually gives you the gross weight, max landing weights, and everything there as well. With your drag indexes come up as well. So it is a really, really nifty little tool, and yeah, it is very, very useful in what you want to have. Now, so we've got our full fuel load there. Excellent. There we go. Okay. All right. Now let's get on with starting this beautiful aircraft. Okay. So first things first. We are in here. Now let's see if I can remember the checklists here. Okay, so we've got our ground power on. Okay. So over here, okay, so we're going to need... Okay. Alright, first things first, let's get you. Okay, set correctly. Yep. Good, good, good. Alright. Now we're going to want to, now these are locked in the off position at the moment. So we're going to start with the right engine. So it's get you locked off out of the off position. Alright. So our engine master's on. Okay. I'm going to go up here. Now this does add it in here, so you get this into your add-on section. Okay, airflow start. Our ground power unit. You can see our RPM starting to rise there on the right engine. Alright, now we'll crack the throttle a little bit. There it is. Oh, and there she goes. Okay. Oh. Okay, alright, first engine done. Now we've got the left one. Alright, let's crack you. Alright, we'll get the right generator up and running. Okay. Now, next, let's get the airflow start going again. Let's keep watching the left RPMs this time. Alright, so 10%. Let's crack the throttle. And there she is. And online. Aha! Excellent. Alright. Now I'll flick that generator on. Brilliant. Bus tyres out. Excellent. Alright. This is good. Now we'll get our anti-skid braking armed. Alright. Now let's uncage you. Alright, okay. Alright, now I know I've got a... Now I know one of those warnings is going to be my navigation. Oh yes, I'm going to do the pitch. Alright, so let's come back over here. Okay. And get those engaged, ready to go. Okay. Alright. Alright. Now, the fun part. Now, this is one of the things it does. It does model the way the... now, this is all before the days of GPS, so you get to have the joys of running a inertial navigation system. Now, I'm just going to hide that menu bar away. So, of course, now we have the joys of doing a inertial navigation setup. Okay, so... Which is the last step of our master cautioning here. So, alright, let us have a look. Let's get down here and get ready to do that one. Now, fortunately, it is, you can custom select this to actually make it so it doesn't take the full sort of, 20 minutes, half an hour that it does in the real aircraft. So you can can avoid some of it. Alright, now first step is we've got to enter in our latitude and longitude. Alright, so where are we? North 30. North 30 and then 29. Okay, that. This is a bit of the fiddly, but you know what? It's kind of cool that it still makes you do it. For those who don't want to have to go through this every time they go flying, you can, of course, select an option to just go for a jump in a ready to fly. But you know what? I actually kind of enjoy doing this. It's weird, I know, but I kind of enjoy it. Okay. 29. 9.1 click there. Good, good, good. And what are we looking at there? West 86. Okay. Okay, so you can just dial through there. 6. Okay. 30.5. Okay, now we gotta. So it takes a bit of a while swiddling through the knobs. It'd be a bit easier if you could just. As I said, in modern fighters, it's easier because you just enter it into all that kind of stuff into a scratch pad. But you know, this is old steam-driven stuff, so you know what? It's a little bit more challenging, but a little bit more fun. There we go. Alright, done. Okay. Alright, now I've got that set. Let's put you there, wait till the heat light goes out, and then we can start the alignment process. You almost need elevator hold music while you're doing this. That's probably the one thing. Meantime, while we're waiting for that the INS to heat up there, so we can start aligning it. So the Phantom has a pretty cool history. It was one of the first fighters that was ever. Oh no! And there you go. Just as soon as I start waffling, it's like excellent. All right. Now I can do some waffling while we do this. Now, unfortunately, we can't move the aircraft, so I can't taxi while we're doing this, but that's all right. Okay, so we'll set that to align. Now that can take a few minutes. So in the meantime, so yeah, the aircraft was designed initially. The very first sort of thing was designed as a US Navy requirement, and then it was brought on board as a US Air Force thing as well, where they could actually get a joint service kind of idea, where they could actually all use the same sort of commonality of airframe, and we no longer need a ground power unit. We've got our engines are going now. Chocks out of the way. So yeah, it was designed as a as a joint sort of services aircraft thing, and then you know that's kept going. It was initially sort of resisted by the Air Force because the Navy ordered an interceptor. The Air Force always wanted, did see the potential of it and thought, okay, well, we'll see what we can do with it. Initially, it was brought on board as the F-110 Spectre, funnily enough, before they accepted the fact that it was going to be a joint services naming convention, and they ran with the same convention that the Navy did, so it became the F-4 Phantom II. Quick little thing as well, just as a pop culture sort of reference, can you really tell I'm just killing time while I'm waiting for the INS to line up? The pop culture reference, the common sort of symbol for the Phantom was a little spook, a guy in sort of like a pointy hat and a bit of a guy sort of hiding in the shadows. And it was designed by one of the actual McDonnell Douglas designers, and that sort of became very much synonymous with the F4, despite all its various different nicknames over the years, from everything from Snoopy to Rhino to Double Ugly, Old Smoky because of the engines, and a few other names that were less than colloquial as well. Yeah, the Phantom, little Phantom insignia done by one of the engineers was actually became synonymous with the F4 and featured on many different variety of patches and things like that throughout its time. So, yeah, a little bit of useless trivia for you. Alright, let's see if this is actually turned out now. Alright, still... Nope, still waiting. Still trying to align. Alrighty, so that finally aligned for us, so that took kind of forever, but that's okay. It's all part of the experience, folks. Fortunately, I saved you from all of that. Anyway, alright, so now that we've done that, let us get ourselves underway. Alrighty, so the INS is all finally aligned, and now we can depart and head off on our adventures. Alright, let's go take this beautiful beast up into the sky and see how she goes. Oh, Something said at the center of those big J79s is just amazing. Alright. Now, of course, it helps if I remember to put my nose wheel steering on. Speaking of the nose wheel steering, it does have a sort of configuration manager which allows you to do things like, you know, whether you want it to be cold and dark setup like we just did, or whether you want to have it ready to fly. One of the other things that it also does as well is that it also gives you the ability to actually rebind some keys and put some specific keys to some of the specific functions in the aircraft, such as nose wheels in engaging the nose wheel steering and the drag chute, which we'll need when we come in for landing. Now those two particular keys are set up by default, but you can also do things like it's also there for mainly I think really from reading the manual, it's sort of primarily designed and to be sort of aimed at the guys who have the HOTAS Warthog from Thrustmaster to enable you to actually get the full use of it and things like that. Now you can see the environmentalists probably have all sorts of issues with the J79 engine because of this huge, beautiful black smoke trail that you can see coming, emanating from the rear of the aircraft. Ironically, it was noted as one of the sort of, like issues with the aircraft is that it made it very easy to see from a very long way away, simply because of the fact that you can see the smoke trail before you can see the aircraft. Later variants of the F-4S did sort of go with a different set of turbofans, which resulted in less of that big billowing black cloud coming out of the aircraft. But yeah, so it was sort of a feature of the aircraft as well for many years for many pilots as well. And definitely something that you saw a lot at air shows. Oh, all that carbon. So down here at Eglin Air Force Base, just the default one that's here as part of Lockheed Martin's Prepared 3D. So you go for a, as I said, we're just going to taxi down the end of runway 01. We're going to do for a quick takeoff, do a couple of maneuvers around, and then enjoy the aircraft, and then we're going to come in and I'm going to attempt a landing this beast. Runway. Alright, no other traffic, so we'll cut straight onto the runway. These reviews just really give those who do air traffic control an absolute heart attack when they watch these videos. Alright. Alright, looks like we're all good. Alright, we're going to run our throttles up. I'm going to go for a dry takeoff rather than go for a full wet reheat one. And brakes off. Ah, it's just amazing, just that you just feel the power of it. You really can. Just going down the runway with just these engines. It's just, maybe not the straightest run. But doesn't she just looks amazing and just looks mean. As I said, it's one of those things about the Phantom is just, I've always loved it. It's just because it's so big and so brutal, and it looks like it shouldn't fly. It looks like it's that heavy and that big. It shouldn't be capable of of any kind of flight, let alone Mach 2 plus that is an interceptor. But you know what? It's a triumph of engineering over aerodynamics, I think sometimes. But yeah, it's just an absolutely amazing aircraft, and MilViz have definitely got that. They've got that feeling about it. It just does actually feel right. It really does. And add that into prepared 3D as well, and it's just an amazing journey. It really is. And that's okay. That's cool. It's just got the wing vapor as well. Okay, nice touch. Now you got to buy add-ons and stuff for most aircraft for that, but MilViz have put it in for us. Nice. Okay, and that's the kind of little bits of attention to detail and stuff that I really enjoy. And I think just absolutely, they really make an add-on and actually sort of, really give you a bit of difference between, what could be and what is. I'm just going to climb for a bit of altitude as we look around the aircraft. As I said, the modelling on the externals are absolutely amazing. The loadout manager does work, and also it does it will work asymmetrically as well. So it will actually negatively impact you, with weights and things like that if you do want to run with an asymmetric loadout. One thing that's kind of cool, okay, maybe not kind of cool, but one thing I'm intrigued about is I must admit, I'm very curious if the MilViz guys are going to put this, make this TAC pack enabled. I'm very curious. They've made their P3D that way. I'm just curious if we're going to see this F4 become TAC pack enabled, especially considering that it does work across platform on both FSX and P3D as well. So theoretically, it wouldn't be, it'd be fairly easy to, well, actually, I actually don't know how easy it would be to implement or not. I'm not a developer. But it's something to consider, considering that there's nothing really of the F4, and a model of this quality and this, it deserves to be in TAC pack. It really does. It's just for those who do enjoy blowing stuff up. And I must admit, I really hope that they do more with and they put the S or the J version out, so we can actually do some carrier stuff. So that maybe there's an expansion pack for this one or something like that, so we get to do all the carrier traps and all that kind of fun stuff as well. And I suppose that may end up being the sort of the TAC pack version of it, would be the carrier one, I suppose, considering TAC packs are not just about the combat, but it's also about the carrier ops and stuff like that. The F4 holds a few interesting records as well. It's the only type of aircraft to actually serve in the Vietnam War from beginning to end, all the way through. But also, it's the only aircraft, I believe the only aircraft to ever saw, definitely the first, if not the only, but definitely the first aircraft to score a supersonic gun kill. So yeah, travelling it over Mach 1.2, USAF pilot engaged MiG-20, MiG-19, and yeah, with the inbuilt 20mm cannon. Which is actually another interesting story as well, because the F4 Phantom, when it was first sort of designed, meant that it was seen as an era where the gun was gone from aircraft. Aircraft will not need guns anymore because everything's going to be done supersonic. It's all going to be missiles and BVR combat and all that kind of stuff. So the Americans found themselves very much as a disadvantage early on in the Vietnam War with the early C and B models, with the fact that they had no guns and they were too close to be able to use the missiles. So the E was actually the first production variant to actually reintroduce a cannon, so it had an internally mounted 20mm cannon built into the nose underneath the radar chin. And yeah, it was interesting that they finally brought the gunfight back to the OK Corral, as it were. So there you go. Now, one thing I do want to point out, and this is something that's really cool. So I mentioned before that the aircraft was designed as a supersonic interceptor. So, designed to do Mach 1 plus, kind of intercepts. In fact, this aircraft can actually do Mach 2 plus in level flight. Excuse me. So One of the things about a design though that does for an aircraft that does that is that if you're trying to do high G maneuvers, she will not like it. She really, really doesn't like it. Let me demonstrate. Alright, so we're going... Now I need to make sure I've got enough room to recover from this because I know what's going to happen. Alright, you know what? Let's zoom climb this. And the afterburner animation is just beautifully well done as well, complete with the shock diamonds and everything that you expect in it. Oh, lovely! Just looking amazing. Alright, I think that should be enough altitude. Alright, push the nose down. Alright. This is what happens when you try and do high G maneuvers at speed. That. Now if you're trying to do that, now I've got the altitude and the time to recover, but if you can imagine doing that at low altitude, that would not have ended well for anybody. So yeah, the fact that MilViz has got that modelling of that feature and that ability right, I'm really impressed with. I really like that fact, because it's like, yes, she's amazing, but you know what? She can be a devil, and she will come and bite you if you don't treat her right. And the fact that that's been modelled like that is really impressive. So thank you very much to MilViz for that, because you guys rock for that regard. Okay. Alright, now that I've slightly freaked myself out, but at least I knew it was coming, let us... I don't remember, we'll find out where our airport is now. Alright. I'm going to go in for a landing back at Eglin. Should be around here, I think. If we follow the coastline back, we should be right. Alright, so we've got Eglin back in sight again. Use our 01 for landing again. I'll start slowing down. Okay. Now she does have a fairly wide turning circle. Alright. 260, so 250 knots. Now, down. Now we watch the sink rate. Now we're going to extend this downwind. I think I possibly came in a little too close to that the runway, I think. Alright, I'll start our turn. That stall warning. This is at low speed. She's also she can be very difficult to handle. Okay. Now really botched up that approach, but that's alright. Let's see if we can recover it. Let's side slip this thing in. Alright. There we are, we got the drag chute out. Ah. Perfect! Absolutely perfect. And that drag chute modelling is really nice and really does influence it quite a lot, so it's good to see. Yeah, I would never have stopped without that drag chute. And there it is, just sort of like dangling there at the end. And we'll just pack that one back up, shall we? There we go. Alrighty, so final thoughts. Final thoughts. Okay. This is an absolutely incredible add-on. If you're questioning the price, you know what, I can get it because it's not cheap. But you get one hell of an amazingly detailed, beautiful product with it. You really do. This, as I said, I am grateful I've got my hands on this because a lot of memories sort of here with the Phantom being one of the first aircraft I sat in, and just now to be able to fly behind behind the stick of it, even if it's a virtual one. Oh, that is just absolutely incredible. It really is, and yeah, the guys at MilViz, you've done an incredible job with this. You really have. It's so beautifully done, beautifully detailed, and just overall an incredible aviation experience to add to your collection. It really is. I look forward to seeing what other things they do to it. I know there was a rumor it was going to be TAC Pack. I'm very intrigued if they do that. And I hope that we may see more F4 Phantoms coming out from MilViz. So hint guys, if you're going to make maybe something like an F4K, F4M, the Royal Air Force, Royal Navy variants, that would be really awesome. Just saying, just throwing it out there. Anyway, alright folks, so as I said, just wrapping it up for you, this is an amazing add-on, highly recommended it for everybody. So I just want to say thank you very much to the guys over at Flight Sim Store again for supplying the review copy of this wonderful add-on. Don't forget to head over there if you are interested in buying it, or pick it up from your favourite flight sim retailer. Alright folks, well thank you very much for joining me once again in this little review of an FSX P3D product. It's been fun as always, and I definitely have absolutely loved this one, that is for sure. Alright folks, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these reviews and want to see more. And as always, you can always catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by looking for me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.